Hello everyone, it is great to see you again in today's story. Have you ever wondered why, as we grow older, time seems to pass faster and faster? When we were children, the days felt endless. We could not wait for the weekend or for summer vacation. But now, a whole year seems to vanish in the blink of an eye. So what is it that makes us feel like time is speeding up, even though the clock continues to tick at the same steady pace? Let us rewind to childhood. At the age of 5 or 6, a single year feels like an enormous span of time. For a child, 12 months is like an entire journey because it makes up such a large portion of their entire life so far. But when we become adults, say in our 30s or 40s, 1 year suddenly feels small and fleeting. For example, for a 10-year-old, 1 year equals 1/10 of their entire life. For a 50-year-old, 1 year is only 1/50th. This ratio creates the strange sensation that time gets shorter as we age. But it is not only about numbers. The real difference lies in how we experience life. During childhood, everything is new. The first day of school, the excitement of meeting new friends, family trips, or trying something for the very first time. Each event becomes a vivid memory, and these rich experiences stretch our perception of time. Looking back, it all feels long and full. But as adults, life often falls into repetitive routines. Commuting to work, finishing tasks, taking care of responsibilities, then repeating the cycle again. With fewer new events to mark our days, the brain stores fewer unique memories, and when we look back, the weeks, months, and even years blur together, creating the impression that time has flown by. Our pace of life also matters. Adults are often busy juggling countless tasks, deadlines, family duties, social obligations. This constant busyness leaves little room to notice the small passing moments. Have you ever experienced that feeling when you are working all week, then suddenly realize, wait, the week is already over? That is the illusion of time slipping away while we are too occupied to notice. So in truth, time itself has not changed speed. It is our perception that shifts. As children, a single day can feel like forever. As adults, a whole year feels like a brief flash. This simple yet profound mystery reminds us that if we want time to feel slower and richer, we need to create more meaningful experiences and cherish every moment we have. And while psychology explains part of the story, science offers another fascinating perspective. Time, as it turns out, is not as absolute as we once believed. Thanks to Einstein's theory of relativity, we know that time can actually flow at different rates, depending on speed and gravity. Imagine two people. One stays on Earth, while the other travels through space at nearly the speed of light. For the traveler, time slows down. A journey that feels like only a few years for them might mean decades have passed back on Earth. This is known as the twin paradox, where two people of the same age end up with different lifespans simply because one moved at extreme speed. The same thing happens with gravity. Near a massive object like a black hole, time slows dramatically. From the perspective of an observer far away, it might look as if time around the black hole has almost stopped. But for the person near it, everything feels normal. Once again, perception shifts, depending on where you stand in the universe. What is truly mind-bending is how this connects to our daily lives. On Earth, the effect is tiny, almost invisible, but scientists have measured it with incredibly precise atomic clocks. A clock placed on top of a tall building will tick slightly faster than one at the ground level, because it is farther from Earth's gravity. The difference is microscopic, but it proves that time does not flow evenly for everyone, everywhere. When you combine this scientific reality with our psychological perception, the mystery of time becomes even deeper. It is not just that we feel time speeding up as we grow older. It is also that, in certain conditions, time really does move differently. What we consider normal time is simply the version we experience here on Earth. Under the gravity and speed we are used to. So perhaps, in a strange way, our sense that time is slipping away faster is not entirely wrong. Whether shaped by memory, daily routine, or the laws of physics themselves, time has always been more flexible and more mysterious than we imagine. But beyond science and psychology, there is yet another layer to the mystery of time, one that belongs to the realm of spirituality and the unknown. Across cultures and throughout history, people have described experiences where time itself seemed to bend, stretch, or even disappear. Take meditation, for example. Those who practice deep states of mindfulness often report that time feels different. A session lasting just 20 minutes can feel like only a few seconds, or, in other cases, like several hours. The usual sense of ticking minutes seems to dissolve, replaced by a timeless state of awareness. Then there are near-death experiences. Many who have gone through them describe a powerful sensation of stepping outside of time altogether. In the span of mere seconds, they claim to have seen their entire life flash before their eyes, as though every memory existed at once. For them, time did not just speed up or slow down. It collapsed into a single eternal moment. Dreams also play a role in this mystery. Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt like it lasted all night, only to discover that just a few minutes had passed? Or perhaps the opposite, a long sleep filled with many events, yet in the dream it seemed to unfold in an instant. Our subconscious seems to operate on its own unique clock, separate from the one we use when we are awake. These stories, whether through meditation, dreams, or extraordinary experiences, suggest that time is not only physical, but also deeply tied to consciousness. Maybe time is not something we simply measure, maybe it is something we experience. And because consciousness itself is mysterious, so too is the flow of time within it. This mystical dimension has led many to believe that time, as we know it, is an illusion, a framework our minds create to make sense of change. If that is true, then the reason we feel time speeding up as we grow older might be connected not just to memory or physics, but to the very way human awareness is designed. And so, when we put it all together, psychology, science, and even spirituality, we begin to see why time feels faster as we grow older. Childhood was filled with novelty. The first time we rode a bike, the first day of school, the thrill of discovering something brand new. Each moment was rich, and our memory stretched time wide open. But as adults, routine takes over. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months, and before long, an entire year has passed almost unnoticed. This is why so many people say, the older you get, the faster time flies. It is not that the universe itself is rushing forward. It is that our minds stop filling each day with unique milestones. Without new experiences, time feels thinner, almost as if the days are slipping through our fingers like sand. But here's the good news. We can change this. Studies suggest that when we actively seek out new experiences, traveling, learning a skill, meeting new people, our perception of time slows down again. By stepping outside of routine, we create fresh memories, and those memories make life feel fuller, richer, and longer. In a way, We are reclaiming time by choosing to live it more deeply. So maybe the secret is not to fear time slipping away, but to use it differently. Instead of waiting for life to slow down, we can fill it with meaning. We can treat each day as an opportunity to make a memory worth keeping, instead of letting it dissolve into repetition. And when we look at time through this lens, it becomes less of an enemy and more of a reminder that every moment matters. A reminder that while we cannot control the flow of time, we can decide how we experience it. So yes, time may feel like it is moving faster, but perhaps that is just a signal telling us to live more intentionally, to pause and appreciate, to create stories that will stretch the hours into something unforgettable. Because in the end, time is not just about how long we live. It is about how deeply we live within it. As we reach the end of our journey through the mystery of time, let us take a moment to pause and reflect. We have explored how psychology shapes our perception of time, how science reveals its relativity, and how spirituality hints that time might be far more fluid than we ever imagined. What emerges from all of these perspectives is a simple but profound truth. Time is not just something outside of us. It is something we live through, something we feel, and something that ultimately gives shape to our very existence. Think back to childhood, when the days stretched on endlessly. Every new experience carved a deep imprint in our memory, making even a single summer feel eternal. Contrast that with adulthood, where weeks blur together in routines and responsibilities. The difference is not in the ticking of the clock. It is in the richness of our experiences. This is the first lesson time teaches us. If we want life to feel longer and fuller, we must fill it with moments that matter. Science, meanwhile, shows us that time is not the rigid universal force we once thought it was. Relativity reveals that time bends with speed and gravity. Astronauts orbiting Earth age just a tiny bit slower than the rest of us. Clocks placed higher in a building tick slightly faster than those at the ground floor. These effects are almost invisible in daily life, but they remind us of a startling truth, even in the physical universe. Time is not the same for everyone. It flows differently depending on where we are and how we move. If even the universe experiences time in multiple ways, is it really so strange that we as humans perceive it differently at different stages of life? And then there are the spiritual dimensions of time. Stories from meditation, dreams, or near-death experiences suggest that time is not merely a measurement, but also a state of consciousness. Some people report timeless awareness. Others describe entire lifetimes flashing before their eyes in seconds. These experiences blur the line between what is real and what is perceived, hinting that our relationship with time may be as much about the mind and soul as it is about the universe. Taken together, these perspectives create a powerful conclusion. Time is not an enemy. Time is a canvas. It is not simply something we lose, but something we paint with the colors of our choices, our actions, and our memories. The reason it feels like it is rushing past us is often because we are not filling it with enough meaning. But when we do, when we step out of routine, when we embrace new experiences, when we slow down enough to truly notice the moment we discover that time can stretch again, a single day lived with intention can feel longer than a week lived on autopilot. So what should we take away from this? Perhaps it is that we should stop fearing time's speed and start focusing on how we experience it. We cannot stop the years from passing, but we can decide what those years hold. Will they be empty pages in a calendar, or will they be filled with memories, growth, laughter, and love? That choice belongs to us. Imagine yourself many years from now, looking back. What do you want to remember? A blur of repetitive days, or a life rich with adventures, lessons, and connections? The way we answer that question today will shape how we perceive time tomorrow. If time seems to be flying, maybe that is life's gentle nudge, telling us to pay closer attention, to live with greater presence, and to fill each hour with something that matters. And so, as we close this exploration, let us not think of time as something that steals from us, but as something that gives us the opportunity to create. Each tick of the clock is not just a moment lost. It is a moment offered, waiting to be lived. Whether we use it to learn, to love, to rest, or to dream, that is what transforms fleeting time into meaningful life. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mystery of time. I hope today's story has given you something to think about, something to feel, and maybe even something to change in your own life. If this message resonated with you, do not forget to like the video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe so you won't miss the next adventure. Together, we will continue to explore the hidden wonders of our world, one story at a time. Until then, take care of yourselves, cherish the moments you have, and remember, time is precious, but it becomes infinite in the memories we create. See you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.